Every day I wake up and I'm like, I love this job. I love being able to write history. I'm at the front lines of this. Even with the 5 or 6 months that I was gone this year, we still hit over 200,000. Every dollar that I make, I'm making at least 100 more for farmers and ranchers. We've started a foundation called Hinterland Foundation. We're going to be training special forces on agriculture, veterans transition to ranching and regenerative ranching, and we're going to be ranching probably around 20 million acres.
In the middle of tremendous success as a grant writing consultant, Juan signed up to serve as a commissioned officer in the Army doing agricultural projects around the world. You would think that would mean shutting down your business, but no, he ran a $200,000 business last year while being out of the country for 6 months. He also published a book, homeschooled his 4 kids, just all the things. Juan and I, going way over on time, got to dig into why the agricultural industry is prime for revolution and how grant funding plays a major role in that. We talk about why he's dedicated his life and his foreseeable future to breathing life into the visions of farmers and ranchers all over the US and, well, the world. We talk not only about selling yourself as a grant writer, but how you can be in service and still get paid. And ultimately, why collaboration is always better than competition. Let's dig in. Juan, I am so thrilled to be able to do part 2 with you. I can't believe it's been this long since part 1, but I am thrilled that we are sitting down today.
Same. It's good to be here.
What is one of the many things that you are most proud of since hitting that first 100K in revenue and truly building a sustainable business?
I'm most proud of is the freedom that I've been able to achieve since then. I was recently commissioned as an officer in the Army. I serve as an agricultural specialist for them, and I do just the most awesome projects. This year I'll be going to Mongolia and to the Philippines in about 2 months. And these are projects that are very humanitarian focused, supporting the special forces. And I do it through agriculture, through feeding people. Even with the 5 or 6 months that I was gone this year, we still hit over 200,000. This year we're going to be around a lot more. Every time I think of what I'm most proud of, it's the ability to have an impact. So every dollar that I make, I'm making at least 100 more for farmers and ranchers, and not just farmers and ranchers, but driving that movement. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I love this job. I love being able to write history. I'm at the front lines of this, right? We've won 100% of our grants that we've written for solar.
Wow.
And we've done 4 or 5 of them. Just so exciting to see the shift and change that's happening in agriculture and to look and say, hey, I'm part of this. We've started a foundation called Hinterland Foundation where we're going to be training special forces on agriculture, veterans transition to ranching and regenerative ranching, and we're going to be ranching all of the DoD land that's out there, which is probably around 20 million acres. That's the goal. Where I'm all over the place, but this has been a crazy start of the year because a lot of this has just happened in the last couple months.
I find your book almost a love letter to visionaries. You're holding them very firmly accountable to put their visions down on paper to get the funding. And you're also holding them. In a lot of ways, you're both an integrator and a visionary. You help people get their plans and their dreams and their visions to life, yet you're a visionary. Do you identify as both?
I do, I think. I've tried to let go of the writing. I love being part of the projects. I love being in the middle of them. Even with Hinterland Foundation, I'm not driving it. I will sit back and I will create teams. I'm good at building teams and I'm good at building projects. I'm good at getting people excited and then figuring out how do we get the whole team building their own vision. I'm good at asking questions. So that's more or less what I do. And people are like, well, how do you sell these guys? I don't sell. I ask questions. That's 90% of what I do.
I just love it. You're a unicorn, of course, but this blend of being able to be the puzzle maker, you can see the vision, you have your own vision for how you can do it, but then you're building all the different pieces, you're building in all the different people that could come in. It's such a cool skill set that you have.
I love that every project's different. And after 2 or 3 months, I'm done with that one. I can move on to another one because I would just get to the point where I got to jump and do something new. I get on a new project every month. It's fun.
Talk to us about some of the hard moments and how you got through those.
The book was really challenging. I really struggled to be motivated. When it's your own project and writing for it, nobody's really holding you accountable. I got Anne from the group who's just a gem. It took me probably an extra 4 or 5 months longer than I thought I would. The other thing that was really kind of challenging was I've had a lot of pivoting that I've had to do with clients, especially when I have to jump with the Army. I had to turn in grants while I was in the Philippines. It's a little bit hard, and I'm probably
Yeah.
going to have to do it again this year. I'm a little bit more prepared. So running your own grant consultancy, if you're thinking that like, oh, this is going to be overwhelming, you're going to be fine. You can always adapt. I love Jocko Willink. He kind of sets the stage there where he's like, every time something bad comes, you just say good.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
this is good. And you look at it and you're like, now we got to just shift. Now I've got to get better. And I've got to learn a new way of doing things. I think the mindset of like, I can do this and I'm going to find something else, that was really not there in the beginning, but I've just been surrounded by grants. I'm surrounded by amazing grant writers as well that I pivot with and talk to all the time.
Yeah.
And it's such a great community.
This is the book we're talking about. Okay. So the holistic funding approach, I'm going to link it. You're going to go buy it. It's amazing. One thing I love about it, the entire thing is growth mindset for everyone involved. Like you talk about your own growth mindset. You talk about how other people can apply the growth mindset to really see things in a different way, to treat each challenge like an opportunity. I also think it's like the most beautiful love letter to visionaries. Hey, we love you. You got great ideas and let's get them into paper, right? Like you hold them accountable and you motivate them. Really beautiful. I really love the entire thing. So why did you write a book?
Since the age of 8, I was a farmer. I wore the coveralls and I just was out there in the field all the time. Loved being with my grandpa, being with the neighbors and talking about farming. And it hurts to see people taking advantage of them. When I find out that they're told, no, you don't qualify for this, and I know for a fact that they do, it almost forces me in my mind right now to be like thinking, how do I write another book on like never take no for an answer? They're told no, and they're just like, well, fine, I'll do it on my own. It's not that they just give up, because they don't. Almost to a fault, they will not give up. These are my people, and my wife knows I love this, but she said, why don't you just write a book that they can take with them, because you know that they're not going to be able to pay for grant writing services. It really was about impact. I didn't realize that it would put me in kind of the expert mode. It's really built my consultancy up in a new way. These are strategies that I can turn to and I can give you without having a 30-minute call or 40-minute call. Service is a big part of who I am and what I believe in. If you don't have something worth dying for or believe it, then you really don't have a whole lot worth living for. It fills you with so much like love, and that gives me power in my writing. I get filled up when I'm around people that just give. Because I'm doing grant writing, you're around the givers, you're around the people that just love and care about society. My gosh. What an awesome job, right? It's just amazing.
Your love for the industry, for the people, is woven through the book. That's what makes it a joy to read, is because one, you're infusing personal stories. So it never really feels like a how-to manual, even though you're giving very, very practical advice in almost every page. The stories, not just the case studies, but the little pieces that you weave throughout, seriously, is a love letter. It's beautiful.
I appreciate that. I think of my dad who passed away and my grandpa. It's a big part of my future. My kids know that this is a part of who we are. We're tied to this land. We don't have a farm anymore per se. I mean, I've got my farm management company in Rwanda, but we don't own the land. We manage it, and it's a different story. It's what connects you. No other people feel that same kind of connection.
There is no other industry primed and ready for revolution other than agriculture. It's a pretty powerful statement and pretty bold. I'm curious, why do you believe this?
I hate to say that, but family farms are completely being decimated. I was just reading a study of how topsoil we're losing it all, and then how much land is being lost to urban development. And then if you go into these communities, so I have been surprised at the number of projects that I've been asked to do that have little to do with agriculture, but are more about the rural communities, rural health. These communities are decimated. The young people are not going back. They're not staying. Our culture is being destroyed in these communities. With all that being said, I think that if you're coming from a rural community and your values have been attacked, they care about the land and they're fighting back. And I think they should. The revolution is happening. If we're talking about climate change, half of it's due to how we transport our food from clear across the world. You go look at your meat, it's coming from Brazil. Why? We've got a rancher down the road. If we're going to process meat, let's do it near the community. Consumers are now caring about agriculture more than they ever have. And because of that, policy will shift. And so will funding, right? And we'll start seeing awesome funding opportunities we're going to see urban agriculture growing. We're going to see greenhouses popping up. You're going to see more regenerative operations running. People that are against livestock, let's look and find a solution because the culture is beautiful. It's something that we can build on. We just need to do it in a way that puts that carbon back in the soil and kind of fixes some of that degraded land. I mean, if you want an example, in California, we have professional grazers or graziers, and they get paid to go out to all these rich people's lands and keep the fodder down so that they're not a fire hazard. They take out goats and sheep and they clear the land just a way that it keeps moisture in the soil. It's been showing to prevent fires. I'm doing a lot of projects that are focused on how do we prevent fires across, these beautiful forests by integrating that livestock. So many solutions that agriculture brings. Going back to the book, we have to find a way to bring these visionaries into the communities and building partnerships. I just think when they start to open up to these ideas, I'm just blown away at the amount of funding that they have access to and that they win because people want this. I do homeschool with all my kids. I want to be integrated into the ranches and the farms. I want them to be able to go out there and to experience this. And it's a beautiful part of American culture.
I'm on the board for Central Oregon Locavore, where we are a nonprofit that then supports the farmers and ranchers in Central Oregon. So we have a local grocery store where we'll be the place where people can access their food all the time easily.
Yeah.
One of the ranchers came with her and her husband came and spoke at the gala last year. And we all walked away going, nothing else matters because at the end of the day, this is how we eat. And it is a basic need for us to survive. We've gotten so far away from that.
Thomas Jefferson talked about this, but we're a nation of farmers. If we get detached from that, then we lose some of that freedom. That's something that I truly believe. It might sound odd, but not to, oh, hey, let's use this land for real estate, the next big business, but look at it as this is a land that is just so healthy and fertile. It doesn't necessarily need us, but if we take care of it, it's something that'll take care of us. It's such a beautiful country we live in. I'm grateful for it. I do think that sometimes our farmers don't think in a business way. They're not very business savvy sometimes, so they run like nonprofits. Like a nonprofit, they have that heart and soul, which is what drives a lot of us grant writers to just keep going and be a part of this movement, ride the wave.
One of the things I really admire about you, not only from what I've witnessed within the collective where you have brought other people along with your journey, even the way you started this conversation, you said we made 200,000. I hope your wife still gets to do some of your bookkeeping, or I'm sure she's somewhere in there.
We've tried to find tax consultants and they're not helpful. She runs the company, brings in the kids, they do stop motion videos that are for marketing. So they do little Lego videos. So they built this little combine. It's just been fun. Over the last year, I've just stopped taking myself too serious. That's really hard in this industry because we're all kind of macho, serious people. The women in the industry are just hardcore. It's intense. And I think that hopefully what changes also with the revolution is that we stop becoming, like I said, so exclusive, but also so just taking ourselves too serious. But going back to, my wife still is part of it.
I love it. So much of your book is about building bridges, bringing in partnerships, forming those critical alliances. One of the lines that brought a huge smile to my face is in your intro when you talked about specifically showing your fellow workers the micro wins, the more worms, more ladybugs, sprouting mushrooms after a devastating crop loss, because it just was that one line and you could just so easily skim over it. Shares so much about your personality and the intentionality. What is motivating this desire behind doing the work in community versus in silos? Why is that so important for you?
Most times I'm an unfailing optimist. Really, the wins are connected to people. Money has never motivated me. It's been nice.
Yeah.
It's given me freedom. What really motivates me is my connection to my kids. Yeah. So I bring them in just like I would if I was running my farm. It's a beautiful thing as long as it's not like slave labor, right? I gotta be careful here, Alex. I'm treading a fine line. I learned how to drive a tractor when I was around 12. The most proud moments of my life have been on the farm, being able to stand in front of a cow and not fall over and be scared. I was really young. It's fun for me when I bring other unicorns on. I'm kind of doing a different model where I'm bringing people in as associates, and more or less that's like partners. One of the big challenges that a lot of these unicorns have, they don't know how to sell. And I shouldn't even use that word's such a naughty word, right? When I talk to them, I just say, look, you are not selling anything. These guys are going for free money. get real. Sometimes as grant writers, we get a little nervous about that, but the more that you're in this industry, the more you realize they don't know and they need a little bit of guidance. I'll say, well, let's leverage our funding strategy. Take this grant, you send it to them. You're offering them $1 million. And you're saying, we want to be written into the grant with you. We want to work with you. What do you think about this opportunity? I mean, Alex, what would you say with $1 million? Like,
yeah, sure. I would love
yeah,
that.
sure. Yeah, I'd
Please.
love to. Yeah, please let me work with you. The thing that's crazy is that the more that I do, the larger the scale of the projects. I'm doing some projects that are 20 million to 50 million, and they need some serious support. Like I'm helping them set up their 501c3s. I'm helping them set up their cooperatives. I'm helping them in ways that it's probably out of my zone, but I will go and ask people and I'll figure this out because I want to learn the industry inside and out. Going back to it, like I want to bring other grant writers in for the journey. First of all, I'll give you a percentage of a referral. And then after that, I'll subcontract you and you'll get paid for a project. Because the biggest thing for people is like to help them get that confidence of like, how do I get them from being skeptical to just being so dang excited that they're like, how much can I pay you, please? And I've done this with several grant writers and I've realized this motivates me because you get excited to see a grant writer go from like, oh, maybe I can make 1,000 for a grant, or maybe I should get paid hourly, like maybe
exactly.
$50, $20 an hour.
Yeah.
No, like maybe you should get 20,000 and maybe one day you'll charge 60,000 for your grant. No problem.
Because this is tricky. So you're like, I'm going to give 10 times more, right? All these things. And in the same breath, you're telling everyone the prices that you're charging. There is some space in there that we get lost, right?
Oh,
We're like,
yeah.
okay, we have to give, so then we can't charge. How do you
No.
meld the two?
I don't ever give anymore. I'll be careful there. Like I said, I will help like farmers, ranchers. When I send grants and things, I know that they're not going to look at them. I have done full funding strategies for family members for free that would have cost $6,000. I took my time and they didn't appreciate it at all.
Yeah.
I do this for their sake. Anyone listening to this that's a unicorn or a grant writer, do not do anything for free for your family. If they are not willing to give you money, then they can give you something else. Maybe that's giving you time. I just did this with they run orphanages and I learned my lesson again. I've relearned this like 4 times.
Yeah, well,
right?
We are human.
We are human and I care. After I wrote the funding strategy, I gave it to him and he just like, afterwards, he's like, well, what do you think we should do next? I'm like, did you look at it? He said, no.
The whole plan.
The whole plan. Yeah. The whole plan. Was it there? And I said, well, you're going to have to pay me to actually get this, start implementing things. And I'm sorry, like, this is what it's going to cost. And he's like, well, I know I can't do this alone. I need to pay you. After he started paying, I'm telling you, he was in the meetings. He was involved. He put some skin in the game. We're in an industry where people are just so used to just taking sometimes. And they're used to volunteers. Even if you are surrounded by volunteers, you need to realize they're asking you to bring millions of dollars of value. And it takes a lot of creativity. It takes a lot of mental space. Like, I mean, even when I'm in the shower, I'm thinking about this stuff. That's why I don't get paid by the hour, Alex.
Right? Exactly. 1,000%.
To answer that question, though, I had this salesman that said this to me, and I use this line all the time now. I would be doing you a huge disservice if I didn't charge you. And I say that because if you do not put into this, number one, you are not going to look at the plan and you're not going to care about it. This is important. And I talk about the things that they're missing. You're going to be missing partnerships. Most importantly, you're going to be missing the impact that you want to have on the planet. And that's really what drives them to pay. A lot of times I just assume that you'd be crazy if you didn't want to pay me for this much.
Were you always like that? You talked about the lessons learned when you did volunteer, but this confidence in knowing that you can give them what they need.
With the grant writing, it's taken some time, but with the ability to sell, I've probably had that for a while. You know, in Africa, the negotiating is everything. You negotiate just to get a vegetable, so I'm not like, it wears on you a bit, but here I get rejected at least probably 10 to 15 times a week. I know it hurts. I know it doesn't feel good. You get rejected by Mother Nature all the time.
Constantly, like literally probably 20 times a day.
Yeah, you pray for the rain and then all of a sudden there's a heat wave and you're like, well, great. Thank you.
You pray for rain, then you get the flood in the wrong time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. And then you're never happy.
Yeah.
Right. So I always look at the little wins. I purposely go out of my way to make sure that I stack the deck in my favor for those wins. Like, even though I'm chasing these $20,000 projects, I know that those sometimes take a bit of time to materialize. And I'm constantly courting clients. I've got clients from a year or two ago. I mean, people have probably different opinions on this, but I've had at least 5 people come back and say, now we're ready. We're going to pay you. Relationships are everything in this business. They're constantly telling their contacts about me. At this stage, a lot of it's referrals.
And I
Enjoy
hope
it.
that people are coming through your book too. If someone's reading it and they realize they've done some legwork, hopefully they're doing some legwork, then they actually are your ideal client that is
Yeah.
coming to you, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, they're more intentional. And I'm hoping that we can give them the strategy that all these universities are using and just snatching up all the money and saying that they're the ones that developed the movement, right? They've just stolen it. It's just ignorance on how the funding works with these farmers. So when I'm able to empower a few of them, that's all I wanted to do. That's all.
That is all. And now it's so much bigger, right? It is
Yeah.
also the power of like when you do the small things lead up to the big things and you never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, well, and that's a fun thing about grant writing. I can't tell you how many partnerships I've been able to be a part of now, go beyond the foundation that we've set up. I've been asked to be a part of a couple boards now.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to having my own ranch to write my own grants. How much power is there in just having all this knowledge? Don't think that you're wasting your time when you're writing these grants. Like there is just so much that you're learning that has so much value, not just for other people, but for yourself in the future if you get into this.
Let's go into rapid fire questions. One word to describe your dream lifestyle.
Freedom and skiing.
Next vacation spot.
Scotland.
Favorite podcast.
I've been listening to one that is called Grow Your Independent Consulting Business. I love her style. It's a good one for everyone in the collective because a lot of times we get sucked into the work that we do and we don't ever do the administrative stuff. So she'll talk about taxes. She talks about sales, developing this funnel for recruiting. Love her personality, her voice.
But what are you reading right now?
I've been reading about fundraising, the philanthropy side, not the grant writing.
The last TV show you binged.
Skeleton Crew with the kids.
What is your superpower?
My superpower, I kid you not, since I was a little kid, I've always felt like I have a connection with animals. When I went out into the mountains, they said, oh, there's like a 1% chance you'll see the gorillas. And I'm like, we'll see them because animals are just drawn to me. I just went hunting with my buddy, went elk hunting about 2 months ago, and I told him this is my gift, and he's like, okay, I guess we'll see. And we walked out of the car and there were like a whole herd right next to us.
Wow.
So a herd of elk, and that's my gift. That's what I got. I don't know how I do it, but I do it.
They're so cool in the fall.
It's the smell. I don't take showers, so they're like, what is that?
Your vision is so beautiful, so bold. I can't wait to see what comes next. But Hinterland sounds very, very cool. Is there anything that you would want to share at these beginning stages?
With Hinterland, I think that the biggest thing is going to be fundraising, and we're at such an exciting point. We're going to be changing policy with the DoD, which is a bit tricky situation. A lot of that is when it comes, it's going to come really fast, and you're not going to see me at leading the charge. There are people that are much higher level right now that we're talking that are in the Pentagon that are doing these things. We're having chats and talking about how do we regenerate all this land, and while we're doing it, how do we feed schools? How do we feed our troops? How do we stop feeding them MREs that are nasty, nasty? And it's been a weird roller coaster ride, but everything's kind of like coming into focus now, and it's all making sense. And we're going to be having an impact worldwide. I'm excited. There's so many amazing people that I get to be surrounded by. That's another superpower that I have, is that I agree. People come into my life and I'm like, you are 10 times what I ever could be, but my gosh, you are on my team. And I choose you. I love funding other people's dreams. I love motivating people to, like I said, build their visions. I don't know where I fit. I'm an anomaly there, but
you're a unicorn.
I've been the visionary before, and I think it took a little bit of energy out of me. And I like to be in my cave sometimes or be outside with my kids. I don't want to go to 100 conferences telling people about my vision. I want to fund someone to do that, get them excited. But I love to be a part of that. If there's anyone listening to this, wondering, oh, was grant writing really? It is the future. Like, you're constantly building the future, and you're so excited whether you're working in tech or I have a little bit easier time when it comes to sales because I'm working with a lot of businesses, and that's sometimes a hard thing to get into. Working with nonprofits that's tough selling. Every time I try and sell them, they're like, oh, well, should we sell our Chihuahua?
I almost want to put a ban. No more dog rescues. Like, there's very few that can actually afford to pay you.
And they love what they do, but most of them are doing it volunteer. I do have my opinions about having all these volunteers. They kind of wear it like a badge of honor. And I'm like, you don't pay your people? Okay. I think they call that slavery in some places, but so I don't think you should be proud of that. I think you should find a way to go pay your people. My gosh. Like if I was running my farm,
Yeah.
I'll bite with a bunch of volunteers, what would that look like?
What's really confusing to me about the nonprofit space, the more I've dug in from the board perspective, you actually don't know how much it costs to run your organization, business, whatever, nonprofit, because you're relying on so much labor that
Yeah,
is unaccounted for. And
absolutely.
so when you actually put number to that,
Unsustainable.
yeah, we're in debt now.
When I bring this team together for Hinterland, I said, we're not going far as volunteers. I absolutely refuse to have you guys and have your skill and your level of like thinking on very long before we get funded. And I will. Like that's
have no doubt.
just, I feel like when you know funding's coming, it's okay to say it's coming. We're getting it done. Careful about saying that to your clients. Be positive. Sometimes it feels like you're gambling a bit. And I talk about that in the book, but you're not. When you've written this and you have a solid game plan, you have a solid proposal you put together, it's just a matter of finding the right donor. That's it.
Oh, Juan, thank you so much. We are humbled and blessed to like have you in our ether. I'm excited to see what you do next. And I'm excited for anyone who wants to be in the ag space. Start here, right? Like it's such a great tool to start with. And I know Juan would love to have a conversation after you've read this.
Feel free to read it. Send me an email. Well, it's taken me a while to get to this point, but bringing on associates, bringing on people. But the way that it works, this is how I view it, is that if you're coming in, let's bring a client on. I'll give you referral fees. I'll subcontract it and I'll teach you how to do it. And then you can get some of that training. I love training good people. But just be willing to learn and be willing to put in the hard work, because this is hard work at times.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.